Hello students, today we are going to discuss the most important SDLC model, which is the waterfall life cycle model. The waterfall life cycle model is the first process model to be introduced. There are many different SDLC models which is covered in our syllabus, but the most important model is waterfall life cycle model. There are two different forms of SDLC models. One is traditional model and another is non-traditional model. So in the traditional model, the waterfall life cycle model, prototype model, iterative enhancement spiral model, different types of models are discussed. Whereas in non-traditional model, it is RAD form, different agile method. These are different non-traditional methods. So the waterfall life cycle model is the first process model, and it is also called linear sequential life cycle model. Very simple to understand and use. And why is it called waterfall life cycle model? Because as the falling water never comes back to the never comes above, it falls due to gravity. Similarly, once the in the waterfall life cycle model, once the project is or the phase is over, like this, okay, once the requirement analysis phase has ended, the system design phase starts, and the system design phase ends, the implementation phase starts. Similarly, testing phase, deployment phase and maintenance phase. So just like water falling downward, never return back above. Similarly, in the waterfall life cycle model, once the phase has ended, for example, if the requirement analysis phase has ended and the system design phase is started, then we cannot loop back in the to the requirement analysis phase. So due to the resemblance with the falling water, this model is referred as waterfall life cycle model. In this model, the phase does not overlap. As we will see in other different models, the phase can overlap, but in the waterfall life cycle model, since there is no looping back, the phase does not overlap. What are the area where the waterfall model is used? So these model will be used where the requirements are well known, product definition is stable, technology is understood. It cannot be used for unknown technologies. It is only used for those area where the technology is known. We cannot take the risk in waterfall life cycle model. There are various different other models where we can take the risk, but in the waterfall life cycle model, only these are used for those projects where there is no risk involved, or where the new version of an existing system or porting an existing system to the new platform. These are the areas where the waterfall life cycle model is used. So these are different models, and what are the different roles? The requirement gathering analysis phase, where we gather as much requirements as possible from the user using different requirement gathering tools such as interview, questionnaires and brainstorming session. And after collecting those requirements, these requirements are prioritized, and these are written in the SRS document. The next phase is system design phase. The requirement specification from the first phase, which means the requirements which are noted in the SRS is studied in the design phase, and the specific hardware and system requirements which are necessary for fulfilling those requirements are also identified during the system design phase. Next phase is implementation. In the implementation phase, the whole complex task is divided into small modules or units, and each unit is then prepared in, or means small programs are prepared which are called units or modules, and which are integrated in the next phase. In the implementation phase, only the small programs or units are created and tested as well. Not only those phases are those small programs or modules are created, these models are as tested as well. Next phase is integration and testing. During the integration and testing phase, all the small modules which have been created are then integrated and then again tested for its integration. The small units are created and tested. For example, in the implementation phase, these small modules are created, and these modules are again then integrated to form again a system or a subsystem. ये जैसे for example, this is one module, this is second module, this is third module. Then these three modules which have been already created and tested in the implementation phase is integrated and tested, is integrated to form let it be M1. And then this M1 is created by the integration of these three modules 1, 2 and 3, and then this is again tested. And the next phase is deployment of system. Once the functional and non-functional testing is done, the product is deployed at the customer's area and released into the market. And the next phase is maintenance phase, where as long as the software life cycle depends, the maintenance phase is always there. The maintenance phase is never ending phase. What is maintenance? To fix the issues, fix the errors which come during the running of the software at the client environment, and fixing those errors comes under the category of maintenance phase, and this is done to deliver these changes in the customer environment. There are some advantages and disadvantages of waterfall life cycle model, such as, what are the advantages? The first advantage is it is easy to understand, and being rigid, we can identify where the each phase end and where the each phase start. For example, if an SRS document is created, we can say that the requirement specification requirement analysis phase has been ended. It has ended. And the system design phase is started. So we can clearly identify where the phase ends and where the phase starts. The phases are processed and completed one at a time. It works well for smaller projects. It is not for complex projects. It is used for those projects where the requirements are understood and the problem is very simple, not complex. Then in those areas we can use SRS. So what are the disadvantages? The first disadvantages is, we have discussed that we cannot loop back. If the requirements are to be added once the requirement phase has been ended, then we cannot add during that cycle. We have to wait for the whole phases to end, and once the whole phase is end, then we can add in the next version of the requirement phase. Not a good model for complex object oriented projects. Poor model, not suitable for the projects where the requirements are at moderate high risk of changing. Whereas it is difficult to measure the progress within the stage, we cannot accommodate changing requirements, and adjusting scope during the life cycle can end a project. So this is all about waterfall life cycle model, which is the first model. We will again discuss about the other SDLC model, in which the next in the series is prototype model and the iterative enhancement model. Till then, goodbye.